Ready Player One is a big hit at the box office. It recently topped the charts and you might be wondering how realistic its depiction of VR is. Well, my name is Jimmy and I've been testing, reviewing, and writing about VR hardware and software for many years. I'm going to break that topic down for you from a technical perspective. If you like the idea of this video, please consider supporting the Patreon. With your help, I can continue making awesome VR videos. Moving on, I will be discussing minor plot points from the film, so consider that your spoiler warning. Ready Player One takes place in 2045. It's a future where there's a lot of poverty and income inequality. Everything is drab and dreary, so most people don VR headsets to escape into the virtual world known as the Oasis. In this shot here, we get a glimpse of what it's like inside the headset. As you'll see, it features a single screen, but today this wouldn't work because it lacks optics and features only one viewport. Optics serve as specialized lenses that allow your eyes to focus on the virtual imagery ahead. Without them, the screen will be much too close and will look blurry. Go ahead and bring up your phone right up against your eyes to see what I'm talking about. You also need two different viewports to account for the spacing between your eyes, since they both see from slightly different perspectives. As a VR enthusiast, I paid close attention to how they handled locomotion in the film. That is, how do players physically move around environments? In the movie, we see all sorts of movement contraptions. Everything from strings holding up limbs to omnidirectional treadmills and egg-like devices. Many modern VR games support room scale. This means that there are at least two external sensors that track your headset and allow you to walk around a small confined space, usually within 5 by 5 meters. Some games also implement a feature called artificial locomotion. This allows you to press forward on a joystick to walk. There are omnidirectional treadmills and even massive human-sized hamster wheels designed for VR out there. I've tried many of them, and in case you're wondering, they feel pretty clunky and don't work nearly as well as you'd hope. The next thing that I looked for as a VR enthusiast is to see how the movie handles touch. As in, how do characters touch each other and hold objects? In the movie, you never see people holding controllers or peripherals. Instead, they all wear gloves, and some wear haptic suits. Today, there are vibrating haptic suits, and companies like Haptics are working on VR gloves that have over 100 different sensors, which can provide variable amounts of force feedback when you virtually touch and pick up objects. We don't have anything like the strings featured in the movie, but they could theoretically be used to provide some resistance when you say, high-five someone, but it will feel more like your arm is being pulled back rather than you pushing up against something. One interesting apparatus that we see protagonist Wade Watts wear in the movie is this contraption around his neck. At first I thought it might be a microphone of some sort, but considering it scans its face, it's probably some sort of depth sensing camera like the one on the iPhone X. This could enable facial gestures, which is a pretty cool feature that current VR headsets don't offer. From a VR standpoint, one scene that has turned some heads is when we see a bunch of people running around outside with their VR headsets on. In the Oasis, there's Spartans from the Halo games, but in reality, wouldn't they just be running into walls? Not necessarily. While that would certainly be true of today's mobile VR headsets like Gear VR and Google Daydream, Oculus is working on its Santa Cruz prototype. The mobile headset features 4 cameras on the front, which facilitate inside-out tracking. The cameras detect depth similar to how our eyes work and can outline safety bounds for us to walk within. Considering they're full-on sprinting in the movie though, you'd have to chalk it up to a much more advanced version of inside-out tracking that can project new safety bounds in real time in unfamiliar locations. The movie also depicts scenes where players will seamlessly switch between walking and driving around in a car. Some VR games like LA Noire VR do this, but they usually allow you to remain standing while you drive, or allow you to pull up a chair to reorient to a seated position. In Ready Player One, these egg-like chairs help people transition between standing and sitting. That's actually kind of a nice attention to detail there. Around the midway point of the movie, we see 2 protagonists floating, flying, and falling around in VR. This would be incredibly hard to pull off in VR today, but it could work to some degree with the strings featured in the movie, though the strings wouldn't be able to recreate any falling momentum. Now, in the headset, it might look like you're falling, but your body will feel like it's just hanging there. In this scene, we see digital hired gun iRock interacting with movie villain Sorrento in the real world via a digital tablet. Today we have VR apps like Facebook Spaces, which allow you to do just that. Moving on, here we see a 360-degree recorded conversation between Oasis creators Halliday and Ogden Morrow. It's used as a 3D time capsule of sorts. Google recently released a VR app called Welcome to Lightfields, where they use light field cameras that can not only shoot 360-degree video, but positional footage as well. Unlike 360-degree video, these specialized cameras provide depth. So not only can you look up, down, and side to side, but you can lean forwards and backwards a bit too. The cameras are still in an early stage of development, but it's promising tech that could act as a time machine to the past one day. Finally, talking about the Oasis itself, we don't have a VR MMO that robust just yet. Perhaps the most similar social experiences include VR chat and Rec Room. These experiences allow you to create your own avatar and meet your friends online to play a wide variety of games. All in all, Ready Player One doesn't perfectly encapsulate what VR is like, but there was careful consideration and research put into the VR aspect of the film. Overall, I didn't expect much from the movie, but I walked away, pleasantly surprised. But what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you found this fun and informative. I want to give a special shout out to the superstar patrons that made this video possible. If you like this video and want to help the channel produce even more high quality VR content, please consider contributing to the Patreon. Thank you.